Hello and welcome to Newsnight, where we bring you the biggest stories of the day from here in Nigeria and around the world. I am Ndi Amugo.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. I am Ngozi Alebu. Coming up over the next 2 hours, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission identifies Lekki axis of Lagos as hotbed of cyber crimes in Nigeria, with concerns over arrest of more than 400 youths.
As Northwest governors adopt fresh measures to combat banditry, security experts doubt their efficacy.
And Appeal Court declares Valentine Ozigbo the PDP candidate for the Anambra State governorship election. But has the litigation ended?
Plus, Nigeria Super Eagles begins 2022 World Cup campaign on a winning note. Thrashes Liberia in Lagos.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says it has discovered that Lekki is the preferred location for cyber fraud syndicates. At the heart of the fraud are youths. While EFCC says 402 suspects were arrested in Lekki for internet-related fraud in the second quarter of 2021. It reports that the advance fee fraud section was responsible for 243 arrests. The cybercrime section executed 18 sting operations, which resulted in 159 arrests, from which only 13 convictions have so far been recorded. And out of the 159 suspects arrested by the cybercrime section, 70 are reported to be from Lekki within Abuja, Badore, Victoria Garden City, Shongotedo, and Uniru. The age range of those arrested is between 25 and 34.
Meanwhile, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency says more than 4,000 youths have been rehabilitated this year alone, and there's been more than 1,600 arrests since January. The agency is now embarking on a massive campaign to curb drug trafficking in the country. The Director General of the NDLEA, Buba Marwa, has briefed President Muhammadu Buhari on the advocacy campaign of the agency across schools and communities to reduce drug abuse in Nigeria. He is, however, asking the president for a barrack to secure the lives of the staff who are constantly being targeted on the job. Marwa also spoke on the dangers of legalizing cannabis.
Of the war against drug abuse cascade down to communities. And so I briefed the president on the advocacy work that we are doing across the country, the structures at the state level, local government, communities, the role of traditional institutions, NGOs, media, what families are expected to do, the school system, the curricula. The Federal Ministry of Education already is working on curricula because now kids start taking drugs from primary school. We need to get to the root of it. And very importantly, I raised the issue of barracks. The NDLEA has been in existence for 32 years. All other agencies, the armed forces, the police, customs, immigration, road safety, they all have estates and barracks. Except the NDLEA, we still don't have barracks. And now, considering the hazardous nature of the work that we do, the danger in it, we arrest and jail the criminals and then live among them.
Joining us tonight on Newsnight to discuss this is Tochukwu Ifemena, a fellow Abuja School of Social and Political Thought. In our remote studio there. And with us right here is Ezekiel Nya Etok, former chairman of Young Democratic Party. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let me start with you, Nya Etok, right here in the studio. What do you make of the fact that Lekki Aja axis that ordinarily is a highbrow area. It's becoming, you know, welcoming to drug dealers, drug abusers, and of course, internet fraudsters. What do you think this is indicative of?
First, thank anything less. Back to the issue. The very first thing is that we have not come to profile the issues that the youth have to deal with, on one hand. The second is that by the time you do a comparative analysis of the different areas, when you say Lekki has become like the hotbed, it's relative to where? Have you looked at other areas? What are the statistics? They are found there because the sting operations are being undertaken there. I think it's a problem that is not just in Lekki, it's a problem that is nationwide. And that is because the authorities have not come to terms with the reality that the internet is the new normal of the young people. And as a result, they've not been able to handle that area such that you can create the ecosystem that isolates the bad people and then encourages the right people. So without taking care of this isolation and getting to let that internet highway be enhanced for the thousands of young people that are doing amazing things, writing all sorts of programs, doing everything, going into blockchain technology and doing amazingly well. They are not heard. But the news is that a certain number of young people within the Abuja axis are getting into internet fraud. How about the so many others who are making this country proud? Where is the news about them?
Well, Tochukwu, let's bring you in on this discussion. By what EFCC has given us, we have the facts. So what do you make of the findings of the EFCC and their ability, if you like, or capacity to discover Lekki as a hotbed for this kind of business?
Okay, thank you for having me. That shows the proactive nature of EFCC current engagement, especially also by a boss that is considered as a youth himself, okay? So the internet always leaves fingerprints, right? And so that was how they were able to track where such crimes were located. And just like he just said, it is not just particular only to that particular hub in Lagos. We know that there are certain places that have such all over the country. But something we want to bring out very well, and something I would like to commend the EFCC for that we must put in cognizance, is that institutionally around Nigeria, there needs to be a concern. It looks like there have been an institutional neglect, okay? The institutional conscience of a lot of agencies that's supposed to be responsible for that have not done what they needed to do. So when you see the EFCC coming that, bringing demographics, and can even zero down to a particular location and show that this is the place where it has the highest place where such crimes is taking place, shows one thing. It shows that in that particular place, you have the highest concentration of youth whose minds are restive, looking for what to do. We failed in curriculums that would have been making youth at a particular stage right now in the Nigerian trajectory to be thinking based on IT solutions, thinking, developing programs, doing a lot of things that have to bring innovations to the society. So when I see the EFCC bringing something like that, I commend that particular kind of institution because they are now proactive such that they could zero down on the demographics. So what we keep on saying and what we keep on insisting as youths in Nigeria is that we've come to the fourth industrial space. And in the fourth industrial space, everything goes digital, okay? So the concept of e-commerce is what certain kind of people are exploiting, what you can call the back end, but it is the dark back end that has not been harnessed as potentials for our youths to use. So going forward, one of the things that we would like to see more coming up from that kind of institution and more other concerned institutions is that there must be an institutional concern. So for example, if we even leave the space of the digital space, we also have a lot of people that can leverage and do a lot of things with vocations, okay? We are looking at a country where the concept of vocational training is not getting a strong support. So a lot of people who cannot do things maybe based on their intellect, but are excellent in their creative skills also needs to be harnessed by institutional providers.
It back to Nya Etok here. Let's talk about solutions. How do we get out of this vicious cycle? Because the numbers are scary. When you hear Marwa say that 90% of crimes in Nigeria are actually linked to drug abuse, and 1 in 7 Nigerians addicted to drugs. Lagos State, for example, is building a 500-bed mental health institution. What would you say then is the way forward? I mean, Marwa recommends integrity drug tests, for example, for students and political office seekers. What would you say to that? And what would you say is the way forward in a sustainable manner?
Yes. The very first thing you have to do is understand the youth. The youth have not been understood. We see them as being recalcitrant, we see them as being irresponsible, we see them as lazy youths, we see them all sorts of, there's all sorts of appellations that we have put on the young people. But if you look to the flip side, it is the young people that have given Nigeria the most positive image, not government, not the adults. Talk in terms of our world recognition. It's either in sports by the young people, football, your coaches and the rest of them, or you're talking in terms of music, the Wizkids, the Tubaba and the rest of them, or you're talking in terms of fashion, the Moody's and the rest, or you're talking in terms of Nollywood. These are the things that give Nigeria positive impact outside. And of recent, we are talking in terms of technology. The young people are giving this country the things that the older generation like us have not. But we need to have a paradigm shift where we start to see the young people as people who are contributing to the success of this country, where we start to look at the problems of the young people and look at ways of profile. Look, let's come to the IT world. It's amazing that the news is about EFCC doing their job. By the way, I joined my brother to commend them, but that's not the story. The story is I stay in Uyo, and I see these young people who are developing all sorts of programs. I see these people who are struggling on their own. I don't see government in the Ministry of Technology or whatever it is coming out to set up that, that ecosystem for the IT. That ecosystem will be able to isolate the bad people, will be able to make young people to be proud to carry their backpacks with their laptops inside. That is the new reality, the new normal of the young people. And unless we wake up to that reality, we're going to lose them because they are not being guided, directed, so they are going on their own and they are likely to make lots of mistakes. And now, look at what's going on now. People are hearing, each time you hear about a bad thing, it makes people to go and interrogate what happened. And they will look at two sides. Now is that they did something bad, but the flip side is that they make so much money. They are living in wealth. They are living in affluence. So you're either into politics or you are into cybercrime. But there is a narrow window between where you can make so much money, and this is going into programming and things like that. So the government, on a sustainable manner, must create that ecosystem that helps the young people to get into this internet, the fourth revolution, like Brother said. And then within that ecosystem, you'll be able to isolate the wrongdoers, punish them, and make it a deterrent to the larger number, over 80%, that are doing good things with their laptops.